Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another edition of the Alas album reviews. Today we're going to be talking about the same band we were talking about in the last album review. Very, very big band. I know I said they were a small band in the last video, but now I've got to give them their props. One of Australia's biggest bands to ever make it out of here, to ever touch the globe, to ever... I actually think, yeah, they are the biggest, in my opinion anyway, in terms of reach, album sales, all that sort of stuff. You might say, oh, AC/DC. No, INXS, bro. INXS. They're from Scotland, man. They're from Scotland. We got INXS. They're from Sydney. Anyway, I know I'm probably going to get shot in the comments for that. Anyway, we're talking about their second album today, Underneath the Colours. Please don't mind the big-ass label. I forgot to take it off before the video. Anyway, goes to show my professionalism. Talking about their second album today, Underneath the Colours. It was released on October the 19th, 1981, about a year after their first LP, their self-titled debut, came out. It was recorded at Studios 301, to my knowledge. That is in Alexandria in Sydney, actually not too far from where I work. It's a nice studio. It's one of the oldest studios in Sydney. I'm pretty sure it's actually maybe one of the oldest studios in the Southern Hemisphere. It dates back to the 20s, I'm pretty sure. Now, Studio 301 isn't really too accessible nowadays to bands like mine who are in a similar situation to where INXS were back in 1981, being broke and trying to get your name out there and all that sort of stuff. They're not too affordable now for dudes like us, but I can understand that because their studio is honestly state of the art. Some of the biggest albums in Australia have been recorded there. Some of the biggest albums you've heard on Billboard have been recorded down there. So, yeah, it's a nice studio. It's state-of-the-art. I understand why they want to be expensive. It's cool. I'll go and friggin' record in my basement. It's fine. Now you guys understand why you're broke. Anyway, we're talking about their second album today, Underneath the Colours. Now, I wouldn't be Mikki if I didn't have it on cassette. You always got to have it on cassette, man. Always got to have the cassette. This is also an original pressing, 1981. It's just a different listening experience on cassette. You know, you get to sit there and watch it. It sounds a bit wonky. It's just, I don't know, something I enjoy about it. So yeah, for their second LP, it's actually not a bad outing either. I'd say that their first LP is a little bit more well mixed. I like the sound of that sonically, should I say. The first record has a bit more of a rounded bottom end to it and a bit more of a defined high end. This record's a bit more mid-rangey. There's a lot more going on in terms of effects and experimentation with the synths and guitar work and all that stuff. The drums are still a little bit dry, on the dry side, but every now and again, like, there might be a song where you'll be like, oh crap, there's a gated snare in there, and this is 1981. So, like, in terms of, like, sounds, picking sounds and developing sounds, this band was actually really, really ahead of its time. In terms of choosing melody, this album's actually amazing. Some of the most melodic songs you'll hear INXS play are actually on this album, and it all lies in the synth work, with songs like Stay Young, Horizons, which is a bit of a slower sort of trudging song, but it switches up, so like it's kind of hard to explain that song. It's not a pop song that you would hear on the radio or anything like that. It really, really is an INXS deep cut. It's something that you wouldn't hear them play after 1981. Seriously, it's something that you would only hear them play at the pub in 1981. It's just one of those deep cuts, but I really, really love that song. For that fact, it's not a really well-known song. So check out that song if you can. Big Go Go. Now, this is a song that I reckon could have been another single. It's got a bit of an anthem sort of vibe to it. Watch your world go, go, da-na-na, when it spins until it stops, da-na-na, people gonna fly, na-na-na-na-na, and they turn it off. Gary's bass work on that song is absolutely impeccable, okay? It just keeps the song plugging along absolutely perfectly. You could probably actually take the lyrics off that song and it would just be a great instrumental. Then we've got Underneath the Colours. Now, to my knowledge, this was actually maybe the only single off the record. Actually, no, Stay Young was the first song off the record. Stay Young was another single off the record. But Underneath the Colours, to my knowledge, might have been the second single. Now, this song is a very, very a weird song. It kind of paints like an underwater sort of soundscape, if you know what I mean. Like, the easiest way to describe it is it sounds like theme music to an underwater level in Spyro the Dragon. And that's not necessarily a bad thing if you're into sort of different types of musical sounds. It's not like a fast sort of song, but it is actually very danceable. And you'll actually see a copy of this song, or actually a live performance. Is Countdown live? Countdown wouldn't have been live. Countdown is like the Australian version of Top of the Pops. Actually, I believe Countdown may have come first. I don't know, don't quote me on that. But anyway, yeah, there's a Countdown performance of INXS doing this song back in 1981. And it's absolutely cool. You see the whole crowd dancing. And yeah, it's a really, really cool song. Sort of different. Not really what you would sort of expect from INXS. But again, this is a very, very experimental album. Then you've got Fair Weather Ahead. I love the synth line on this. Doom 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 doom. I absolutely love the synth work on this, and Michael Hutchins's lyrics on this is absolutely beautiful. It's pretty much just poetry, straight poetry, talking about mountains and chewing on the fat and built upon the Hague's plan. Black foundation slipping through sand. Put the lights out. Fair weather ahead. Down, down, down. All these great new creatures. Ever you will get it. Yeah. Yeah, you can tell I really, really like that song. That's going in my playlist, and I'm listening to it quite often. Then there's Night of Rebellion. So now we're starting with Side B. It's the same with their debut. Side B is a little bit weaker than Side A, but it's not as weak this time around. So we start off with a song called Night of Rebellion. Now, to my knowledge, this may have potentially been another single that they were planning on doing, but Shabu Shabar, they were working on that stuff, and we'll get to Shabu Shabar. What is that? Persian for pot? Anyway, Night of Rebellion is a bit of a different song. It sort of starts with a 1950s-esque sort of guitar sort of line, down, 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 like that, and it goes into like a sort of like a train running, like with the snare, sort of drum line before it breaks into the verse, where Michael Hutchins' vocal line, na 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 na, is absolutely impeccable in terms of its counterpoint with the melody of the song. It's so catchy. And then when the chorus breaks in and you've got a bit of those SpongeBob sort of esque synths, dun, 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 I'm talking only one action, is absolutely amazing. The only thing I've got a problem with on that song is the mixing of the background vocals. I'm pretty sure it might be Kirk Pengilly's background vocals on that song. He tells me it sounds like you recorded that in a bathroom, bro. Like in the toilet of the studio. And like, that might have been the thing in the 80s, but that's not the thing now, and it honestly sounds horrible every time I hear it on the record. I really, really hate the sound of those background vocals. And Kirk Pangilly is an amazing singer. He sings the background vocals on New Sensation, the killer. So yeah, it's they did him dirty on that one. Anyway, next song is called Follow. Now, Follow is a bit of a forgettable song, a very, very forgettable song. It's very, very slow and very, very forgettable. Do I need to mention more? Barbarian. Barbarian's the next song. Barbarian's actually a very, very drony song. So it starts on the melody goes down, down, out, down, 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 out, down, 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 out, down, down, out, down, down, out. I don't know if that's a different time signature or whatnot. It kind of sounds like it, like it's playing with that, and then it kind of goes into like a double time sort of drum, sort of with a drony sort of almost like a Gregorian chant as a chorus. Barbarian, na na na, na 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 na. It's very, very drony. It almost puts you in a trance. It's a cool sort of song. Also somewhat forgettable though. What would you do? Again, another forgettable song. In fact, so forgettable, I can't remember too much about it. And then the last song, Just to Learn Again, is a very, very weird song, and it's very, very new wave. It's probably their most new wavy song that they've done. I would not call this album, again, completely new wave. Unlike the first album, it leans more heavily into that side of things, and it's the last time it really, really does. It's the last time you kind of hear INXS maybe chasing someone else's sound. You know what I mean? Because this sounds like it could be maybe the Talking Heads or maybe even The Cure. It sounds like it could be anyone but them, to be honest, on Underneath the Colours. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, but at the same time it is. Because it's not an unlistenable album, but it's not completely INXS. It's still a very, very tight album. Again, John Farris, his drumming is absolutely impeccable on this record, and the rest of the guys, in terms of their compositions, the way that they've played it and the swagger that they've played it with, it is impeccable. It is absolutely amazing, and they have gotten as far as they did because of this record. After this record, things get a hell of a lot different. Things get way bigger. INXS started touring the rest of the world after this record. But yeah, this is a record that not many people know about. This is a record that not many people talk about in terms of their history. The first two records are almost ignored. They're not really ignored by the band, but in terms of what most people talk about, these two records are ignored, and it might as well be Shaboo Shabar being their debut. I'm pretty sure that's because Shaboo Shabar came out in America before these records did. You guys in the US didn't get these records, I believe, until 1989. So they were only in Australia and New Zealand when they were released. I believe that might have came like 45th on the Australian music chart, and that came 15th. So that is that. That has been the review of Underneath the Colours by INXS. I hope you have enjoyed it. I have been Mikki. We have been, I am from Alive Like a Suicide. I got the blueberry shirt on today. The store will be up again soon. We're just doing some maintenance on it and all that sort of stuff. Trying to get some new products and all that sort of stuff on there. Be sure to go listen to our new single, Shell Shocked. Yeah, the song makes me belch. Be sure to go listen to our new single, Shell Shocked. It's available on all streaming platforms. Pretty please put it in your playlist. And if you can, go to our Instagram, go to our bio. There's a number there. It's actually the number for Triple J's requests. So if you wanted to request a song, text that number and please text Play Alive Like a Suicide, Shell Shocked. And if you want to do us an even bigger favor, go to the Instagram page of Short, Fast and Loud. That's the metal radio show that Triple J runs. And in the comments, tag our band and tell them that you want us to play, or want them to play us. Don't play with our emotions, Triple J, please. All right, we'll love you long time. Anyway, that has been the review. I have been Mikki. We have been Alas. This is Mikki messing up the outro once more. See you guys later.